Hi everybody, it's Dr. V. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here again to offer you a pick a card money reading. So pile A, pile B, pile C. This is for you if your money is funny or if you are doing fine and you just want to know how you can up level and upgrade and receive more abundance. So as always, choose your pile intuitively, whichever one feels right. You can choose all three if you'd like. You can pick one or two. It really is up to you how you approach this. One of my viewers commented that they perceived or listened to the last video with the past, present, future lens. Really up to you how you want to approach it. Remember, these are general readings, so they may not always apply. They may not resonate. So take it as it resonates. If it doesn't resonate at all, go ahead and just click off and move away. One thing I'm going to address very briefly before you comment. Always check your energy and make sure that you're offering comments and feedback that's high vibrational. Anything that is not coming from a high vibrational space is going to get deleted going forward. I'm just not going to even engage or waste any time with those kinds of energies. And so I just wanted you to know that. Always just check yourself before you comment, because if it's not high vibrational, I'm just going to delete it and move forward. So that's where this goes. That's where I'm standing right now. I've already called in my guides, angels, so on and so forth. So let's just go ahead and jump right into the reading. Right, group A, those of you that chose this beautiful, I think this is Jasper. Let's go ahead and see where you are and what's going on with you. Okay, cool. So from the Sacred Wealth Code Oracle deck, you have the Connector. This is, we are all one, heart-centered, intimate, creative, communicator, diplomatic, community, empathetic, inspiring, so on and so forth. So that's who your money archetype, your core money archetype is, that you are a connector. So you're probably in some kind of healing modality. You may be a person who literally connects people. Like you may have a business that's about networking and helping people to get into different spaces, connecting people with like job leads, so on and so forth. The shadow side of this is that this can be a person, this can be an energy that's people pleasing, codependent, maybe doesn't have a strong sense of identity. So what this means and how this impacts your money is that if you go into the shadow side, then you might end up doing things that are people pleasing, that you're like people pleasing others, where you're doing things for other people, but it's not authentic to you. It's just not possible to keep everybody happy all the time. And when you try to do that, it just creates like a negative energy for you. So you can also end up taking on other people's energy and their problems like they're your own, like you're trying to fix things for people. Your theme song would be Fix You by Coldplay. Like that's kind of the energy that you're coming with. And the thing with that is that you end up taking on everybody else's shit to the detriment of your own. So you may be over here like trying to help other people when you need to help yourself. Like you have to get your own cup filled before you can start giving to others. The analogy that I like for this is that many times we can go into spaces. I'm a connector personally. That's one of my things. And so we can go into spaces where we're taking care of other people. But what we have to learn how to do is give from the saucer instead of the cup. So imagine that you have a cup and like a cup of tea or coffee, and it's in a cup and it's filling up and it's filling up. And then the overflow, right? When it starts to spill over, goes into the saucer. Well, you're the cup. You want to be in a space of such overflow that you're not giving out of your source, out of your cup, but you're giving out of the saucer, out of the overflow, out of the abundance. And so you might feel like, oh my gosh, it's so selfish to take care of myself and to focus on me. I need to help other people. I need to be in that space. And you know what the reality is that, yeah, that's great. I understand it. Be in that space. Be a giver, but give from the overflow. Learn how to get yourself into a space where you're in such flow and overflow that you don't need to, you don't feel like you're taking anything from yourself in order to give to others, okay? I hope that's making sense, but that's something that's really important for you right now, is to make sure you're giving from the overflow. So what is your vibrational switch that you need to make? And it says, my attention to unwanted attracts more unwanted. For every pleasing thing, there is an unpleasing counterpart. For within every particle of the universe is that which is wanted, as well as the lack of that which is wanted. When you focus upon an unwanted aspect of something in an effort to push it away from you, it only comes closer, because you get what you give your attention to, whether it's something that you want or not. It's up to you to focus upon and attract what is wanted. And so this goes to the core of anything, right? It's like if you go out to your garden and all you see is the weeds, but you miss all the flowers, well, you're going to attract more weeds. So this is metaphorically speaking, right? Your life is your garden. And so if you're focusing on the fact that you don't have enough money, guess what? You're going to continue having not enough money. So try to switch your energy to what you do want. So be grateful, be high vibrational in that energy, in the space of, I have more than enough. My needs are always met. Money comes to me effortlessly. I'm always in flow. So focus on that. Be grateful for what it is that you attract and what you bring into your world, instead of focusing on the things that you don't have. If you're focusing on the things you don't want, you're going to continue to attract things that you don't want. So look at what you do want. Focus on that. I'm not saying be like unaware or be blind to circumstances, okay? I'm certainly not encouraging that, because that's just not wise. I mean, it's not wise to be like spending money if you don't have money, right? It's not wise to go out and like run up your credit card, go out and buy a pair of like, fancy shoes or whatever, just because you feel like it. That's not the best way to go about it either. You want to be wise about what you do, but focus on what you do have with gratitude. You have a home, books, whatever. Focus on that, and you're going to attract more of that. So what is the map for you, the next step in the map for you to take to get to where you want to go? So we have solitude in reverse. Let me go ahead and look that one up. This says, too much solitude results in isolation and separation. Now is the moment to get together with friends and join in the merriment. Hiding out will only lead to loneliness and negative thinking. Separation at this time really isn't a healthy choice. Are you in a situation in which you feel alone? You need to share this, not keep it to yourself. By joining in with others, you'll hear what you need to know, because Spirit finds ways to speak through them without their even knowing it. You have the key to let yourself out of this prison. You are loved and never alone. So this is going to be really important for you. Maybe you feel like you've been isolating because you're ashamed, or you're embarrassed, or you just don't feel like you have enough, or something is going along something along those lines. But this is saying it's time for you to get out and go meet with people. You might have friends and people that are really have something to offer you, some wisdom, and you're missing out on it because you're keeping yourself isolated. So what is it that you need to activate in your life? Ooh, look at that. Destiny, the wheel of fortune. Here's the thing. You have to trust that fate is always at work. Destiny is always at work. Sometimes we spin the wheel of fortune, right? If you ever watched a game with Pat Sajak, you know that sometimes people spin the wheel and they end up with, winning the trip to wherever, right? And then sometimes people spin the wheel and they end up on bankrupt. And that's just the way, as the movie Bruce Almighty says, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Sometimes it's just the spin of the wheel. It's just the wheel of fortune turns a certain way and it's not in our favor at that point. But the nice thing is that there's always another spin. And so what you need to understand is that where you're at right now is just the luck of the draw, so to speak. It's not who you are. It's not an indictment on you. It's not because you're a failure or a fuck up or whatever. It's not that at all. And you may be personalizing it, okay? Because you're a people pleaser, because you have this empathic side to you. You may be taking it really personally, like, oh my gosh, if I'm not flowing in abundance right now, it's because I'm doing something wrong. It's because there's something fundamentally flawed with me. That is not the case. It's just the way that things are right now. And so how to activate that is to really start imagining yourself spinning the wheel of destiny, seeing it flowing and seeing things going the way that you want them to go. This is going to be important for you to visualize what it is that you desire, to focus your energy in that way. And it's going to help you to shift out of this experience and into something more abundant. So what is it that you need to release at this point? It says communicating clearly. Today, I will communicate clearly and directly in my conversations with others. I will strive to avoid manipulative, indirect, or guilt-producing statements. I can be tactful and gentle or assertive if necessary. I do what is right in the moment. So this is really interesting because I just feel this is really important, that for some of you, because of your people-pleasing tendencies, you may not have been speaking your truth. You may have been not exactly coming forward with the messages that you need to say, not being as candid with your communication. And as a result, you may have just been kind of shutting yourself down, right? Kind of closing your own throat chakra out, and you need to just be communicative and speak your truth with authenticity, with kindness, with love, but speak your truth. You don't have to try and please everybody. You're not going to please everybody. One of the best things that ever happened to me is I have this friend, his name's Dwayne, and he and I, this was years ago, we were having lunch, and I was telling him about how I had gone to this like networking meeting, and there was these two women there that were like cutting their eyes at me and like being kind of nasty, just being rude for no reason. And it hurt my feelings. Like it hurt, like literally, legitimately, two strangers I didn't even know. It literally like hurt my feelings that they, for whatever reason, decided they didn't like me. And I was like telling Dwayne about it. And his nickname for me is Fancy, because I always have like sparkly nails and whatever. And so he always calls me Fancy. But anyway, so he was like, Fancy, not everybody's going to like you. And it was like life-changing. I know that sounds so silly, but he was like, there's going to be people who don't like you for whatever reason. It doesn't matter. Like, but you worrying about whether strangers like you is crazy. He was like, that's such a waste of energy. And I realized that he was absolutely right. And so why I'm saying that is because you may hesitate to speak your truth because you want people to like you. Like I was a people pleaser. I wanted everybody to like me. And once I realized that not everybody's going to like me, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. And as you speak your truth and communicate your messages clearly, what you're going to do is the people who aren't meant for you, who don't resonate with you, who are not part of your community, are going to fall away. But you're going to attract people who are more authentic and who are more who you want to spend your energy with and have in your experience. And so start speaking your truth. That's really something that you need to release. As part of something that's holding you back is not speaking your truth, not communicating clearly. If you are trying to censor yourself, if you're trying to say things so other people appreciate or like you or whatever, it's just not going to work. It's actually working against you. It's time to speak your truth and be your best and most authentic version of yourself. So that's your reading. I hope it was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions. Hello, group 2. Let's go ahead and see where you're at. Ooh, I love this. So your sacred wealth archetype is the mystic. I am spiritually wealthy, spiritual, sensitive, unconventional, transient, intuitive. Sorry, I just bumped the camera. Introverted, illuminating, etc., etc. Let me go ahead and grab the book and take a peek at what that is for you. Okay, here we are. So the mystic energy, this archetype, okay. You can, your affirmation can be, I'm spiritually wealthy. It says your sole desire is to be a channel for transcending the material world. The purpose is to bridge the spiritual and material worlds to create freedom for myself and humanity. Sounds like me. The shadow is isolation, lack of balance, victimhood, and fantasy. So one of the things, like this can be a really powerful energy. You may be already doing like healing work, a spiritual teacher, something along those lines. You're really dedicated to the path of enlightenment. You may struggle with, how do I bring this enlightenment and material wealth together? A lot of times people have ideas that to be a spiritual leader or a healer or a teacher is something that you shouldn't get paid for, right? And the reality is that back in like the tribal days, when money wasn't an issue, that was reasonable. That was more possible for people to be in that energy where you exchanged equitably and things like that. We live in a different world today. We live in a capitalistic world, and we can't, even as healers, survive and thrive without having monetary exchange. And so there's something about that feels really resonant, that some of you may be really struggling with, like, well, how do I charge to people, or how do I get paid to do this? And maybe feeling like you're blocking your own prosperity because you feel guilty about charging for these things. But it's important that you understand that you definitely have something of value to offer, and you can do that. Now, part of your shadow and part of what's going on is that you may get a little bit too isolated. You may not actually be out there doing what you need to do, giving the messages that you need to give. You're not maybe actively engaging with your world, with your relationships, with your work. You may go into like, so what I'm hearing seeing here is that some of the people that resonate with this can be what I jokingly call so heavenly minded they're no earthly good. And that's the people who are like constantly in like trance states, or who are like, living and existing up in like the spiritual dimensions, and which is great and wonderful, right? But you have to come back down to, you have to learn how to, as Jeff Brown calls it, ascend with both feet on the ground. And so learning how to be in that space where you're not getting caught in like these, transcendent experiences and not being present in your life is going to really help you to shift your monetary experience. Because you're so sensitive that if you get stressed out, you might become like super, super focused on something, and get out of balance. And so let's say that you feel like your money is a little bit funny. And so then you start focusing like relentlessly on how to manifest. And that's not something that is a balanced approach. Sometimes we have to learn how to be more balanced in our approaches and how to be more grounded. And so, meditate and say your affirmations and do your abundance work, but then get out and do something. Maybe you need to tweak your business approach a little bit better. Maybe you need to do something a little bit different. Whatever it is, take action in the physical world. Okay, so what is it? What is your vibrational switch that you need to make? So I can follow the trails of good feeling thoughts. Most people have put everything that earns money in the category of the things that I have to do. And that's why the money often comes so hard. If you're wise enough to follow the trail of good feeling thoughts by deliberately looking for positive aspects along your way, you will come into vibrational alignment with who you really are and with the things you really want. And once you do that, the universe must deliver to you a viable means to achieve your desires. So follow your good feeling thoughts, right? If you approach your work like, oh my gosh, I have to go to work, or I have to do this, or I have to buy it, then it's going to be weighty. It feels really gross, right? It's like, oh, I have to go to work, right? It feels worse, way worse than, oh my gosh, I get to go to work and offer my gifts to the world. Okay, so it's about shifting your language and your experience. I get to go for a walk. I get to go to the gym. Look at me. I get to cook dinner for my family. Whatever it is, but to really following the good feeling thoughts is going to help you. And so you might have to create your own path. You may have to create your own thought path that makes you feel good, that helps you keep in that space, right? It may be something that you have to really be disciplined in doing, but that's totally your way. You can do it. It's possible. And you're going to shift your experience, right? It says like the universe must deliver to you a viable means to achieve your desires. And so when you come into this, it says vibrational alignment with who you really are, which is abundant, right? You're abundant. You're an abundant being having a human experience. And so once you become aligned with that, when you start to understand that everything is yours that you want, you just have to vibrationally match with it, which I have to say, like, there are certainly factors in the world, capitalism, so on and so forth, that definitely have an impact, but we can also choose our own reality and choose our path, right? So I'm not saying that you're going to magically make all of your issues disappear, but what I am saying is that you're going to help shift the experience by the thoughts that you choose to have and the words that you choose to speak. So what is the next stop on your roadmap? Like, what do you need to do? Ooh, Golden Palace. I like that. So I'm pretty sure this is basically like what I'm getting very clearly from this is that this is about good fortune. It says good fortune, ambitions fulfilled, wealth, and prosperity, emotional fulfillment. So perhaps you're entering a time of happiness that's long overdue. The message here is that self-worth isn't measured by what you have, no matter how abundant your life is. Instead, it comes from who you are. So this is, again, understanding that who you are is an abundant being. And so allow yourself to take the path into this golden palace. Like, I'm seeing you thinking your way and speaking your way into what it is that you want in the reality, in the material world. Again, being a mystic is amazing, but sometimes you have to take tangible action in this physical reality to get what you want. As Elizabeth Gilbert says, you have to relentlessly participate in the manifestation of your blessings. So if you're not seeing this golden palace coming to pass in your life, this message is literally saying, do your part in the physical world. Again, you can go and search, you can Google journal prompts for wealth. You can download workbooks, free workbooks, or buy workbooks. Like I have one that's a Think and Grow Rich workbook that I bought from Amazon, which is like, I think it was like $5 or something. So there's so many resources out there that you can do to actively start participating in the manifestation of what it is that you want. But you're going to have to do it, right? You're going to have to do this. And as you start following the map to the golden palace, you're going to start seeing the things and the results that you want. So start seeing yourself in this space. Imagine yourself living the life that you want to live. Imagine yourself in this golden palace, feeling abundant, feeling like you've got everything that you want. Things are working out for you. You feel amazing. You feel exciting. That's what you want to experience, okay? So what do you need to activate? Your authority. This is the Emperor energy. The Emperor is, just really at the core, a total freaking badass. The Emperor is confident, rules their kingdom with love, but also with authority, okay? So this is saying like some of you need to learn how to take spiritual authority in your life and command the things that you want and release the things that you don't want. So when I say that, I'm saying that we underestimate our spiritual power sometimes. Sometimes we just become victims to what we're experiencing instead of using our spiritual authority to create the reality and the situations that we want. So sometimes we can literally use our words to command like sickness, poverty, disease to go away from us. I hereby command this experience out of my reality. You can literally speak your reality into experience, but sometimes we don't do that. We just go into like, oh my gosh, things just aren't working out. It's not fair. Like, poor me. And this is saying, look, you have the authority. You have the spiritual authority to do this, okay? You have all the power. You've always had the power. Like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, right? You had the power within you all along. You just didn't know it. This is you. It's time for you to activate your inner authority, that you stop going along with everything that's happening in your life, that you take a stand for what it is that you desire. So I always say this, like nothing works if you don't work, right? So if you take a stand for what you really desire and you commit to something and you're like, you know what, I want abundance and prosperity and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. Well, what if that means that you get up and you meditate an extra 15 minutes every day? What if it means that you start reading books on abundance and prosperity? What if it means that you actually sit down and create a budget and look at what it would take for you to create what it is that you want? What if it means that you have to stop spending money at Starbucks or whatever? What if it means that you sell a bunch of stuff so you have money to put into your savings account or your 401k or to buy some investments? Like, what would that look like? Are you willing to do that? That's what Spirit's saying to you right now. Are you willing to do whatever it takes? Because if you're not willing to do whatever it takes, then you're missing out on your authority. And too many times people don't stand in their authority. Too many times people don't listen and respect their own authority because they're afraid of what that means. And so this is really important for you to get into that space where you understand your authority, you stand in it, you move in it, and you do whatever the hell it takes to get to the destination that you want. I think about it in terms like this. Like if you, I'll use a personal example. Like when my son was diagnosed with a heart defect, I literally, like, this spiritual authority, like I was like basically like I'm praying, and I was my energy was basically like okay, source, I'm not, like, I'm here, I'm praying, I'm not moving until you heal him. So you can either do it now or you can do it like, whenever, but I'm not moving until you heal him. Like that was literally like the way that I was with my spiritual authority, where I was like, I know that he has a right to live healthy and whole, and I'm not moving until he's blessed. I'm just not doing it. So that was kind of how, until we can get that stubborn and that committed to our own freedom and our own goals, we may not see it come to pass. But when you can stand in that authority and be in that space, everything freaking changes. That's where the beauty comes in. That's the magic, and that's the lesson that you're supposed to be learning right now. So what is it that you need to release? Releasing resistance. Today, I will simply accept. I will relinquish the need to be in resistance to myself and my environment in any way. I will move forward in joy by accepting where I am right now. So that's an interesting message, because it feels almost like it contradicts this, but it actually doesn't, because what you resist persists, right? And right now, what's being resisted is the not following the good feeling thoughts, not believing in your own power, not believing in your own ability to create the life and the experience that you want. So this is about accepting where you are right now. So it's, if you have $100 in your bank account, you just say, accept that. Okay, so here's where I am. I only have $100 in my bank account, but I do have that $100, and that $100 is more than $0, and that $100 means that there's abundance coming my way. And look at that! Holy cow! I just found a dime on the ground, and that means that there's more abundance coming my way. And if there's a dime, then that means there can be a quarter. And if there's a quarter, that means that there'd be a dollar. And if there's a dollar, that means that 5 and 10 and 20 and hundreds are coming my way. And holy cow! Look at that! I'm manifesting abundance because I feel so freaking good about everything in my life right now that I'm not going to be worried about what it looks like in the material world. I'm not going to obsess about what I don't have. I'm going to follow my thoughts and feel good about it. Again, staying grounded though, right? You don't want to live in a fantasy world, so you have to have that balance where there's like 1 foot in the spiritual and 1 foot in the physical, and merging those two energies together is going to really help you shift your experience. Stand in your authority. Literally take that stance. I'm not moving till you bless me, Spirit, and commit to that, and do whatever the hell it takes to get what it is that you want. Okay, until you're as committed to your success that when you're that committed, okay, when you're that committed to your success and your abundance, Spirit can't help but bless you. So I hope that this message resonated. Please let me know if you have any questions. Group C, welcome back. Let's go ahead and jump in, see what your sacred wealth archetype is. Ooh, I love that. The Honorable Warrior. I take a stand for positive change. I'm new to this deck, so let me go ahead and find it, because I want to make sure I give the message. Okay, the Honorable Warrior. The mantra for the Honorable Warrior: I take a stand for positive change. The sole desire to pursue personal excellence and world change through courageous acts. Purpose: to stand for honorable causes and be an agent for positive change. The shadow: rescuer, narcissistic, volatile, and self-negating. So this is saying your energy is really about being strong and positive and passionate, hardworking, loyal. You're a spiritual warrior, okay? Your life is dedicated to a higher cause. You're really committed to justice. You're really committed to people living their best life, you living your best life. Really looking for to be a positive force in the world. You have the ability to achieve your heart's desires, and the focus and the will and the ambition to reach your goals. You're a good leader. You can take on challenges. You have a lot of discipline. Now, the shadow side of this is that you can fall into the negative side of being a rescuer, okay? Someone who has negative or misguided attachments, to who needs to rescuing people in order to feel worthy. And so this can be the type of energy where you go out and you do a positive thing, and you do it because you want the accolades. You want to feel like people see it. So this is like you might be a person who can really only see the weaknesses in others and not their strengths. You often look for someone to rescue so you can feel good, okay? Sometimes you let your ambition get the best of you, and sometimes you work too hard even when the times are tough, especially when the times are tough, because you feel like you have to rely on yourself. You don't feel like sometimes you don't rely on Spirit to be the source for you, and that can really be a difficult thing for you, is that maybe when in the times where things might be lean, instead of relying on God, you tend to rely on yourself. Instead of looking for guidance, you look for your own wisdom. You try to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Sometimes, and that means that you can get to really get yourself burned out if you're relying too much on you instead of looking to Spirit to help you. So this is definitely an energy of not getting into a space where you compromise your values in order to win, to come ahead, but really standing in your truth and being strong and brave and courageous, and also calling upon Source and your higher wisdom to be able to help you in your journey. Okay, so let's look at what vibrational switch you need to make to get to the next level. It says, I can't tell stories of shortage and experience abundance. Continuing to tell stories of shortage only continues to contradict your desire for abundance. You cannot have it both ways. You cannot focus upon unwanted and receive wanted. You cannot focus upon stories about money that make you feel uncomfortable and allow into your experience what makes you feel comfortable. A different story will bring different results. My thoughts are the basis for the attraction of all things that I consider to be good, which includes enough money and health for my comfort and joy. And so if you're saying things like, oh, I just don't have the money, even if you're thinking things like that, like, oh, I'd love to go to that concert, but I just can't afford it. Or I want to do this, but I'm broke. Or I want to do that, but I can't because I don't, right? If you're telling that story, even in your head, you're not going to be able to experience abundance. That's just what it is, plain and simple. You have to allow yourself to open up to abundance in order to experience it. So start telling yourself stories of abundance, stories of, I have more than enough. I always have more than enough. My needs are always met. If you can say things like, I don't choose to invest my money that way, instead of saying I can't afford it, right? So listen to the different types of energy. Listen to the way that you're vibrating. Listen to the way that you're thinking, and see the abundance around you. See, like, I always have more than enough. Francis Scoville Shin has some affirmations in the game of life and how to play it that are really good. And one of my favorites is, let's see if I can remember it now. She says, I give wonderful service in a wonderful way. So I don't remember, if something for wonderful pay. And so it's like a little 4-line poem. You can look it up. But it's a really great affirmation that you may want to look at. But really start positive affirmations. Listen to ebooks, audiobooks. You can listen to audiobooks on YouTube of like Florence Scovel Shin, of different things like that. But really start telling yourself stories of abundance, because as long as you're talking about what you don't have and what's not happening, you're going to not experience any more abundance than you're currently experiencing. Set yourself free by the words that you speak and the stories that you tell yourself. So what is the roadmap that you need to take? We have home. Okay. So I get a couple messages right off the bat from that, which is, first of all, you got to tend to your home. So if you're in a space where, because you feel like there's been shortage or lack, you haven't been taking care of your home, one of the ways that you're going to unblock that energy is by tending to it. So that may mean, taking the time to wash your dishes if you have a sink full of dishes, washing your laundry, cleaning out a closet, doing something that's going to help you shift your experience, is going to help you to and change what's happening in your world. Okay, so take care of your home, take care of what you already have, really be conscious about that so that you can create more. It says peace, security, safety, belonging, and all the features that one would want from home are indicated now. The home card represents an invitation to experience what it's like to be secure in your own skin, to live comfortably no matter what is happening in the world around you. It's a time for opening your eyes to your connect to your group of like-minded people, or one special person who makes you feel like you've come home. Home is love, and love is all around you now. Whatever your inquiry, you are where you're meant to be and will reap great benefits by staying on this path regardless of where it leads. So this is also about being comfortable in your own skin, right? That you don't need to show up and rescue people. You don't need to be, always being in that space of needing to rescue people or coming to people's rescue or feeling all of those energies. You don't need to do that anymore, because you're home right where you are. Create that energy of belonging where you are, where who you are, what you are is good enough just as is. You don't need to continue to try and upgrade your life to be better, right? I'm not saying that you give up on your dreams. I'm saying that you don't attach your worth to what you do. Okay. And again, tending to your home environment. You'd be surprised at how much you can shift the energetic experience that you're experiencing just by uncluttering a closet, or cleaning out a drawer, or, like I said, washing your bedding and sleeping on clean sheets. That kind of energy can really shift your energetic experience and help you feel more at home, feel more comfortable, feel more abundant. So what is it that you need to activate? So we have the 4 of Cups. Get discontent and boredom. So this is saying, look, you've got to get out of this energy of discontentment and boredom. Again, with the energy, the stories that you're telling yourself. If you're bored with your life, do something different. If you're not feeling good about where you're at and what's being offered or what's happening in your experience, do something different. If you're bored with your like with your life or whatever, switch it up. Get out of this energy of just feeling discontentment all the time. What do you want to feel? What would you need to feel at home? What would you need to feel better, to feel more confident, to feel more powerful? How do you create that experience? How do you stop saying like, well, I'll just be happy when, or I just don't have this. I don't have, I'm not happy because I'll be happy when I lose these 10 pounds, or I'll be, whatever it might be. That just continues these cycles of discontentment and boredom. Be happy right where you are right now. Life is too damn short to sit around being discontent and bored with life. I'm like, how are people bored? That's one of the things I always get. Like, I'll have people sometimes like comment on posts and be like, I'm just bored. And I'm like, how the hell are you bored? There's like billions and billions. Like, how many books are out there? Like, how many adventures and experiences? Like, you could dedicate your life to just learning about all the birds, different species and whatever. And that could take you years to learn that. And that can keep you from being bored. You know what I mean? Like, find something that engages your passion again. Find something that makes you feel alive and go do that. You need to get out of this discontentment and boredom type of energy because it's not working for you. It's keeping you stuck. It's keeping you trapped. It's keeping you from being able to experience what it is that you want to experience in this life. And so it's no wonder it continues going this way. It's no wonder you continue having these experiences. If all you're seeing is boredom, if you're just unhappy all the time, it's time to be happy and to be the person that you want to be and the things and have the experiences that you want to experience. You can literally shift your experience and shift it into something else right now by changing your focus. Turn around and look at what amazing stuff is behind you, right? What's amazing in your world. That's going to help you shift your experience. So what is it that you need to release? Interesting. Rescuing myself. Okay. Because we already had rescue come up once, right? Today, I will not wait for someone to come to my aid. I'm not helpless. Although help may come, I'm my own rescuer. My relationships will dramatically improve when I stop rescuing others and stop expecting others to rescue me. Wow. That is such a message. It's so in alignment with everything we're talking about. You may be waiting for someone to rescue you. You may be in that energy where you're like just kind of subconsciously hoping that someone's going to see that you need help or that you need something. And people aren't going to do that. It's not that they're not, but expecting that and then like self-sabotaging because they don't isn't serving you. It's time for you to be your own hero, okay? Like, play that song, I Need a Hero. You be your own hero. You be the one that comes in on the white horse to rescue you. Do that for yourself. No one else is going to do it for you. And they may come to your aid, but you're the one that's ultimately left up responsible for saving yourself. And so, like I said, and I think it was the second reading, that there are resources that are available that can help you shift your experience of abundance, of finances. You can read books like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, the Florence Scovel Shinn, The Game of Life and How to Play It. There are workbooks. You can download journal prompts like Journal Your Way to Abundance. There's so many things that you can do to shift your experience, to rescue yourself, but you're going to have to do it. No one else is going to do it for you. Like, no one's going to sit down and meditate for you. No one's going to sit down and journal on abundance for you. No one's going to work through your money blocks but you. No one's going to do this for you. If you want to shift your experience, you're going to have to shift the way that you're engaging with your experience, with your reality. That's just the plain and simple truth. Until you do it, it ain't happening, sister, brother. It's just not. You're going to have to do your part. And when you do, and I see this for a lot of people, like really just making the decision and starting to take action is going to shift things very rapidly for you. But if you're waiting for a miracle to happen, right? If you're waiting to you're sitting in your house not doing anything and just waiting for spirit to bless you, it's not going to happen. You're going to have to get out and do something. You're going to have to get out and participate in your own freedom, in your own liberation. And once you start taking those steps, things are going to rapidly shift for you. But until you do, it's going to continue to be a struggle. So it's really up to you. You want this to end it. end the cycle, do something different, make a declaration, commit to doing a process right this minute. The longer you delay, the longer your blessings are going to be delayed. So it's literally up to you. You can put the key in the door and turn it and change your experience, or you can continue to be stuck. It's really up to you how you go forward. So I hope that this reading was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions. Take care. Bye.